Welcome to Facts and Opinions with Don. I'm Donald January Jr. And before I go any further, I need to let you know something. You look great today. You do. Thanks for being here. Today I'm going to tell a story. I'll do my best to paint a clear mental picture of these factual, real-life, extremely well-organized protests that took place in the not-so-distant past. You may have your own preconceived perception of protesters, but just hear me out before you tune me out. As I tell this story, I understand that human nature may take over, and your feelings about many events of today will likely cause you to form an opinion and have feelings about the events surrounding this particular story that I'm about to tell. There's no right or wrong way to feel about this, but I do ask that as I speak, you decide in your mind who's right and who's wrong. I plan for this to be a lesson in growth for everyone that watches, and it'll hopefully make sense by the end of this video. So here it is. There was once a group of people that were really upset about the way they were being governed. They felt like they were oppressed and that the governing body did not accurately represent them and their views. They felt that some of their people had been unjustly killed and treated. Some even wanted to secede from the government. They voiced their concerns, but their concerns constantly seemed to fall on deaf ears. In fact, not only did the things that they voiced their grievances about persist, even more rules and laws that this group felt were unjust were added. Now, while there were some people that were perfectly fine or indifferent with what was going on, there was a group of people that were adamant about calling out these injustices and getting as many people as they could to see things as they saw them. These people used the press. They organized. They boycotted. They constantly defied and petitioned the government to change. But still, no desirable results. All of the protesting and talking came to a head when the protesters decided that they were done talking and they upped the ante. They dressed in a way that disguised who they were so that it would be believed that they belonged to a group other than the group they were acting on behalf of. They infiltrated property belonging to the people that they saw as being in cahoots with their oppressors. Then they destroyed a large amount of property to get their point across and to let the government know that enough was enough. Now I understand, you may see this as some sort of a riot, or you may be inclined to call these type of people snowflakes because you see them as acting out for not getting their way. You might even be okay with how they handle things. That's a personal preference that depends on your individual perception of right and wrong. So who were these people and what were they doing? I'm quite sure you've at least heard of some of the names of the men involved in the planning and carrying out of this incident. A few notable names of these protesters were Paul Revere, John Hancock, Samuel Adams, Benedict Arnold, and John Crane. The story that I just vaguely described is that of the Boston Tea Party. These actions infuriated the British Parliament, which was these men's government at the time. And this was a catalyst for many other similar incidents in other colonial ports. This was one of the milestones that led to the American Revolutionary War. You know, the war that gave birth to the United States. Today, these men are widely regarded as patriots. There have been political parties named after them, the Tea Party Republicans. The 2017 Super Bowl champion New England Patriots mascot is in fact an American Revolutionary War soldier. These actions have solidified these men as heroes in the United States history books. But how were they viewed during their time? There are two sides to every coin, and we aren't taught in school about the fact that these men were declared traitors by their government. We don't hear about all the colonists that opposed the revolution. We don't hear about the people that fled the colonies out of fear or because they didn't want to oppose their government. We don't always talk about how many colonists were loyal to Britain either. These are all facts that make the Boston Tea Party and the American Revolution more real. And I think these facts also make it clear to any reasonable person that the United States was built on protests. This brings me to my point. Regardless of how you feel about the protests of today or the protests that led to the American Revolution, take the time to see the similarities of the times. And if you truly don't see what groups like the Tea Party Republicans, the protesters of the past couple of years, and the Boston Tea Party have in common, please ask yourself why. Is it because you feel like these millennials of today just want to cry and they're what's wrong with the country? Do you not see it because you see the colonists as fighting to not pay taxes?
Practice. We sitting there talking about practice.
DJ, I said taxes.
Not the game. We talking about practice.
Taxes, not practice.
I know. I just been wanting to say that since I heard it. I'm out.
Like I was saying, do you not see it because you see the colonists as fighting to not pay taxes? Or some people have fought against things like oppression based on the color of their skin or systematic injustice? Or maybe you disagree simply because you don't want to entertain the fact that you've been condemning people for the same thing that you've praised others for your entire life. In order for us to get to a point of seeing eye to eye, I think it's important to first find common ground. I feel that the values of the founders of this country is a start, particularly the way we view their protests and the spirit behind the Boston Tea Party. We can also learn from the chain of events that led to the American Revolutionary War because the conflict and the anger was totally preventable. Now, by no means am I saying that these guys were perfect. Slavery alone is enough to prove that. Just being honest. But these people saw something that they thought was wrong. They did everything possible to make their voices heard. And they persisted and organized instead of complaining and talking with no quantifiable goals. Can we all agree that that's a productive course of action? They were not comfortable with being treated as lesser than others, and their disdain and anger grew with every time they were ignored. Do you agree that that's human nature and many people would react in a similar way if they were in their shoes? My final point is they were eventually backed into a corner, and when that happened, they came out fighting. When in these types of situations, our brain goes into either fight or flight mode. When someone goes into fight mode, look out, because anything's possible. If we don't all do our part and create a world where no individual or group of people feels backed into a corner or marginalized, I fear that this cycle of anger and confusion will never end. I'm not naive enough to believe that everyone in the world wants to change. But I do feel that there are enough decent people in the world to make a difference. And there are enough decent people in the world to make the ignorant people of the world obsolete. I feel that too many of us are complacent with our freedoms, and we've gotten so accustomed to having and wanting things our way that we shut out views and we shut out people that aren't in line with our way of thinking. That's confirmation bias, which is totally unhealthy. It's not good for anybody. This way of thinking isolates us from so many potential relationships and opportunities for growth. If you really want to make a difference in your country and the world, I urge you to try your best to gain an understanding of those that don't agree with you. You just might see that they want some of the same things that you do, but are going about it in a different way. And if you're not willing to do this, make no mistake about it, you're likely more comfortable being a hypocrite than being a catalyst for positive change. It's the truth. And the rest of the world can still grow without you. Make the right choice. Well, that's all I have for now. This is Facts and Opinions with Don. I'm Donald January Jr. Thanks for being here. Until next time, peace.